Hey guys, excuse me. So, as always, I'm here a couple minutes early before the actual live thing starts. I see we got a couple people here. Alika and Kurt, hi, how are you? I see you guys already in the chat. Sweet. I'm not sure if we've got others who are just kind of here, but that's cool. If they are, we'll find out. We'll see. We'll see what's going on. So who is here already? Derek, hello. Hello. How are you? Mr. Black, sir, my lord, how are you? I just broke something, but that's okay. It wasn't that important. Do I have any MTech? Oh, not seriously. Ironically, and to destroy, yes. Yes, I do. But not as a serious thing to carry. A call patch, Cyborg 337. Cyborg 337 Alpha? Something about this sort of kind of sort of remember. Kind of, sort of, kind of. I don't know. What's up, Doc? Yeah, I get that a lot. The what's up, Doc. That's what comes along with being a medic. People want to say that a lot. They walk in to your little tent and you're like, what's going on? And they're like, what's up, Doc? And I'm like, listen, I've got needles and pointy things. So pick your jokes wisely. So let's see. Oh, it is about 6:30. So should I do the cool? Oh wait, you know what I got to put on in the corner here? Where is it? Oh, it is in the corner. Okay, we got the logo. Should I do the 60-second countdown? I'm not going to do the 60-second countdown just because we can. I don't remember the 60-second. Hello, our friend from overseas is here. Welcome. I'm going to silence this. My phone, put it on vibrate. So hi guys. I don't know. I didn't put a post up to say that we were going to do this, but I did say it last week that we were going to do this, that we were going to be back. Hey, Kevin. Ethan gave you a shout out, Kevin, in a fire starting video that we were going to do. Hello, Mr. Dr. Evil. But Kevin, Ethan thought it would be, he said in the middle of the video, we were doing testing a fire starter. He goes, can I give a shout out? And I said, sure. And he goes, shout out to Fire Guy. So that was kind of cool. So I hope everybody's having a great night. I hope everybody's having a good week. We're having polluted air pollution alerts again. Oh, 337th Fighter Control Squadron. It actually... 337th Fighter Control Squadron. Well, that's the 325th Fighter Control Squadron, which would become... Wait for it. Are you kidding? Do I not have it on that wall? Wait. The 337th Air Control Squadron. Through lineage. And the way Air Force does lineage is crazy. About fingers. Well, so fingers. Okay, Kurt. I'm sorry, guys. We're gonna discuss this. So fingers could be two people. Fingers is a captain, the call sign of a captain, but it's spelled different. That was one of my OICs once upon a time. Fingers was also the call sign of one of my subordinates, a staff sergeant, who was our intel sergeant. But since I was the NCOIC of Weapons and Tactics, she worked directly under me, and she Sorry for the odd angle. I hope this isn't weird. So this was her patch specifically, but we were the same. She had these made, and it was like a morale patch. It was when you were sick on Instagram DM. I don't remember. I have trouble. The Instagram DMs, they're like weird for me. But I would have to go. But if you can find it and send me a screenshot, Kurt, I'm sure I'll know exactly what we're talking about. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not really sure what it was. I was just watching the knife box video. Oh, Joe, you're watching. That's an old video. That video made many people hate me and some people like me. That knife box sucks video is actually my most viewed video on this channel, which is sad to me. Very sad. But people seem to like it, so I will. So anyway, the topic tonight, as you could see, fixed blade knives. Now, I love folders. Like, I'm a folder guy. I carry a folding knife everywhere I go. And some places I'm not even supposed to carry them. But from the time I was young, my dad taught me how to carry a folding knife and how to use it and how to treat it with respect and care through my entire military career, through all 8 years in the Army and then the next 13 and some change in the Air Force. Not a day went by that I did not have a knife in my pocket or on my belt, whichever was convenient. In the field, though, I would still have a folding knife. But in the field, I would always still have a fixed blade knife, like some kind of field knife. Because let's face it, there are some times where the fixed blade just is, it does for us what a folding knife can't, won't, refuses to do, stuff like that. So there are jobs that a fixed blade does that a folding knife doesn't do. Hey, Dave, what's up? So I thought tonight what we talk about is what about fixed blade love? And there's a lot of people who love carrying a fixed blade knife. Now, up until recently, when I got this little guy, I was never okay, Kurt, yeah, like the actual what was going on in that conversation, I'm not going to remember unless I see it, to tell you the truth. So until I got my hands on this guy, I never really understood people that wanted to EDC a fixed blade knife. Like, it was never, to me, it's a convenience thing. But in terms of going out hiking, camping, all the things going on in the field, I love fixed blades. So I figured tonight we could talk a little bit about some fixed blade knives, features we like, features we love, things that we expect it to do for us, and some things we don't like. And I actually have two knives here that you guys have not seen. I will tomorrow be in possession of a Holtzman Gorilla survival knife. I believe it's the Hornet, and that probably will not be the last one that I'll have either. I think I'll be doing a few of them. I have a couple knives here that you guys have not seen yet on the channel. I've seen them only to look at them and check it out. So, well, Bot, you live in an interesting place as knives go. That's crazy, but it just because again I've deployed with RAF folks, and it's so weird to me that like they have a knife problem the way we have a gun problem. It's crazy. So hey, here's one thing to like about fixed blades. So now I'm gonna now, as I talk, I'm gonna try to keep an eye on the chat and everything. So I hope I don't miss any good comments. But so the thing is, here's my, like, when I'm looking at a fixed blade, to me, in my opinion, the most important part of a fixed blade knife, and this can go for any knife, but especially fixed blades, the most important design feature on any fixed blade knife is going to be the handle. Because I don't care how fancy the steel is. I don't care about Kevin Smith, our gun problem is that the wrong people end up with guns. We don't keep them out of the hands of psychopaths. And it would be so easy for us to do, but we just don't do it. And I work in firearms, and I believe that every law-abiding citizen should be able to own a gun. But we always find out with every shooting, with every mass shooting or whatever, we find out that there's like 8 or 10 people that could have kept that idiot from getting their hands on the gun in the first place. And they just either don't care, they're too lazy, or they're ignorant of the situation, and I don't know why we don't start charging the people that allow psychotic idiots to have the gun. Charge them with accessories to the crime. And I'll bet you we start seeing these people that never should have gotten their hands on the gun in the first place not have access. That's our problem. That is our problem with guns, is that we put massive restrictions on innocent people, and we pass these laws that don't actually prevent criminals from getting their hands on them. That's the thing. But anyway. Yeah, so Joe, Frost Cutlery is another brand that makes knives that are not they're not the greatest quality, honestly. They make some knives that look really good and everything. They make some knives that are okay. Kevin, I'm just saying, Kevin, I could go on all day talking about how we have a problem with punishing the masses for the issues of a few. And our problem, like I said, our problem with guns is that we just randomly pass these. The people passing gun control laws have no idea what anything about it. They just write things down that sounds scary to the people that they know will vote for them. I don't want to get into it. Sorry, I don't want to make this about that. But like, if you read some of the things that qualify as assault weapons, or some of the features that qualify as an assault weapon, it's like ridiculous how stupid it is. And you can tell that whoever wrote these bills has never handled a firearm in their life. But I don't want to get into that now. I don't even want to go into that. Because that's a whole nother thing. But anyway, so like I was back on saying, but okay, so fixed blade knives. The most important design feature for me is going to be the handle. And I don't care what kind of steel the knife is made of, and I don't care what size it is or what the blade grind is or anything else. Because if you have a knife without a handle that someone wants to hold, or that it's comfortable for someone to hold and work with, the rest of that knife is garbage. It doesn't matter how fancy it is. Nobody's going to use it. Nobody's gonna want to number one, buy it, number one, own it, number two, take it with them on any kind of adventuring, on any kind of tasking. So a handle design is really, really important. Now, Mora has done really well with a really simple design. The Mora Basic, it is so basic. But one of the things that they nailed, simple and basic, is a handle design that is fairly comfortable, that works for multiple people, and it's such a simple design, and they don't need a lot of fancy materials. Moving up a step, this is not the Garberg. I always forget which one is this. I can't remember. It's below the Garberg. I'll remember it at a weird moment, the name. But even there, you see like the fancier, more expensive version, they really don't stray too far from the handle shape. It's just they use some rubber overmold to make it a little more comfortable. But still, it's just a common shape. Notice it's not round. Okay. I was doing the gear pack unpacking. Oh, I wish I had it. They had the old Rambo survival knife, the new version of it, with a totally round handle. That is so bad for any kind of knife. But it indexes well in your hand. It fits most hands well. It's nice and simple, so that no matter how much you're using it, it's just easy. Well, if you take your citizens' rights away, of course they're not going to have a problem. If you pass laws that says people can go to jail for not speaking, nobody's feelings would ever get hurt either. But like I said, the problem is we would not have the same incidents of violence either if we pass measures to just keep the guns out of the wrong hands. Because here's what they don't tell you, okay? There are over 20 million AR-15 rifles in this country. 20 million. If the problem was the rifle, was the firearm, and not bad people, everybody in this country would be dead. If simply having the access to the firearm was the problem, there would be nobody alive left in the United States of America. Okay, over 20 million AR-15s, and that's not even counting every other type of firearm we have. We literally have more firearms than people in this country. And when you see things like the term mass shooting, they're also counting things like gang members shooting each other. Anytime 3 or more people is injured in an event involving a gun, they count it as a gang shooting. When you see shooting statistics, they count suicides in there. They count police having to fire on suspects. So the numbers are very skewed also. But my point is, if guns were the problem, everybody in America would be dead. It's not guns. It's bad people. We have a bad people problem. We have a bad people getting access to firearms, not decent law-abiding citizens having access to firearms. If people didn't have access to firearms, we also wouldn't have a country. We'd still be a colony. We'd have the queen and now the king on our money again. So it's a very complicated issue, but at the heart of it, it's people who want to control the masses because it's easier than just controlling a handful of bad, evil people. So less than 1% of the population actually commits violent crimes with firearms. But that's, like I said, that's a whole nother thing. So, all right, like I said, I'm trying not to make this up. When I start talking firearms on this channel, especially with some of my real dedicated viewers, it turns into nothing but that. So back to those Moros. Those were just simple, basic plastic handles, right? Then we have other materials like micarta and G10. Plastic you can mold into whatever shape you want, but micarta and G10, now notice these are two different knives, two different makers, but how similar are the handles? How similar are the knives overall, too, really? But the whole thing with micarta and G10 is that you can carve them, and you, not just makers, you sitting at home watching, can kind of mold G10 and micarta easier than you can plastic, because plastic, since it has such a low melting point. No, don't worry about it. I'll definitely look for that DM. Plastic has such a low melting point and is more fragile when working with it, when trying to shape it, than other materials. Like G10 is tough. Micarta is tough. It's a little unforgiving in the terms of once you put a shape in there, it's in there. But you can use it with a number of tools that you couldn't use with plastic. So with high-speed machining, CNC, stuff like that, you can put almost any shape you want into a G10 or a micarta handle. And it lets you do just intricate machining or very simple machining, as it were, whatever you want. But you can put a really good grip. What is G10, Bob? That's a good question. It's almost identical to what a circuit board is printed on. It's a fiberglass resin material. It is, I'm trying to find another not you. Sorry, I don't mean this in a snotty way. Not you, but a lot of people around the world probably have knives with G10 handles. But if you look at it, look at a circuit board and imagine that material thicker. It comes in many colors. It comes in layered colors like this, so that when you carve it or you shape it, you get the pattern of the different colors. It is very, very heat insulating, so that if you have a hot knife in the sun, it is not likely to transfer that heat. Of course, if you have a full tang like this, you have that, but it doesn't transfer that heat to your hands as much. That's why one of the reasons they use it on circuit boards. So it's a good question. G10 is a very multi-purpose material that they use in a lot of industrial things. That's why if you're going to work on it, you also, if you're going to grind it, you have to wear a little mask, an N95 or a full respirator. So you definitely don't want to breathe that in because you're breathing in fiberglass, little shards. But it can be used for, it can be used, they use it on handles on firearms. They use it on handles for knives. They use it in machining. There are intricate patterns in the dashboards of vehicles that they use it for, especially in multicolored stuff, in aircraft because it's lightweight. It's a very rugged material too. It can bear a lot of weight, pound for pound with some metals. So it's a really cool material for doing all sorts of stuff like this. You might not be able to see this in this light, but this is also a multicolored, the webcam's not wanting to focus on it. It's also a multicolored G10. And since it's very rugged, you can drop it, you can throw it. It tends not to break. It tends not to shatter or anything like that. So it's a very good material. Micarta is very similar to G10, except instead of just having these straight fiberglass and epoxy layers, they can use paper, they can use cloth. Very often it's made of linen or cotton, and it is then compressed with the layers of epoxy or resin, and then through pressure it is hardened, and then you can grind on it or shape it or whatever you want. It is very similar to carbon fiber, the way that they put it together, but it is not as light and not as expensive, we'll say. Carbon fiber is a much more expensive handle material. Sometimes they layer G10 and carbon fiber together to make you kind of a mid-range handle material. It looks really nice if it's done right. The cheaper stuff doesn't look so good, but if you layer like fiberglass with like a blue, any color, what color doesn't go good with black? But when you layer those colors together, they're really nice when you grind it out in a pattern. Something like this, and you see the fiberglass pattern, not the fiberglass, sorry, the carbon fiber pattern, and then the color pattern. It can look really, really cool. Where are we? It's shattered. Yeah. So it is. Somebody said, who said before? Maxim. G10 is a fancy plastic. It really is. Fiberglass is basically a plastic / glass product. G10 is a very, very fancy, more expensive product. Plastic that just happens to have better properties. But you probably have G10 around you somewhere, you don't even know it. If any device you're watching this on has G10 in it or G11, they're practically identical. Molecular level, they're a little bit different, but you just don't even realize it. So G10 is around you all the time. What knife is this? This is 511. This is plastic. The advantages of a plastic handle are it's much cheaper because you can injection mold. Todd, hello, how are you? Plastic handles are much cheaper to make, much faster to make. It doesn't take tooling. So one of the costs with micarta and G10 handles is that you have to have either a person, and that's obviously much more, to hand tool it, or you have to have a CNC machine actually do the tooling. But it runs through, it actually is the epoxy, the resin, the fiberglass, it is very hard on tools, on bits. So that's a hidden expense that you don't know about when you're buying G10. The companies that do this run through a lot of materials. So it might cost them, in terms of actual time, you can put a sheet yay big in a machine, right? Oh, hey, Todd, it's nice to see you here too. It's cool. Did you mention the house black? Like that. So like literally the time is all automatic. You can put it on and go work on 10 different steps while it does it. But they're still burning through electrical costs. They're burning through tool costs as they run through bits and stuff. If you've never programmed a CNC machine, it is not as easy as here's a picture, I upload it. It needs to be programmed in what we call G code, which is a whole different And I shouldn't even say that because, some machines run on G code. I'm sure some are graphical. The more expensive, fancier ones are just graphical interface, which is a lot easier. But the majority of CNC machines, you have to program G code, which is, think Microsoft, think BASIC. If you're old enough to remember BASIC, line by line, telling that little mouse what to do, how to go, you're doing that millimeter by millimeter through the thing. Well, a lot of people will never work with G10, and some people get really comfortable working with one material, and that's all they want to work with. My first knife that I ever made, my handle was made of wood. I had a terrible time with the wood. I'm very heavy-handed. I cracked a couple pieces drilling through it. You got to learn how to work with stuff. And, I came from a zero tooling background, and one day I was like, I want to make a knife. And so there's a place on every base called the Self-Help Hobby Shop, and they have tools. Hey, Craig, they have tools and they have all sorts of other stuff available, and they have some experts, like some retired guys that are good at stuff to help you. One thing they don't have experts in is knife making or blacksmithing. They have a lot of tools available, but like in that realm, you're just kind of on your own. So the first knife I made was just basically cut with an angle grinder, and then drilled and sanded flat on a grinding wheel. And then then on a belt sander to put the bevel in and everything, and the handles. I just nobody told me specifically how you treat wood, that you can't just take the drill press and just and go through it. I was like, it's wood, it's a drill bit, whatever. I cracked 3 pieces of wood before I got it right, and learned that you have to listen. Sometimes you've got to drill a little pilot hole and then work it a little bit. Sometimes you need to use a smaller bit and a bigger bit. Countersinking is a thing. Anyway, I had a terrible time working with wood handles. So I was like, I never want to touch wood again. I hate wood. That's funny. So then on my next one, I said I'm going to work with G10, and G10 is hard to work with, but it's sturdier. It doesn't crack. And you need harder drill bits. You need more patience because you can't just hold it down. You gotta, if the drill bit heats up and gets stuck, you could actually break your drill bit right out of the collar. But I got very comfortable working with G10 right away. And so for a long time, all I would work with is G10 because that's what I got comfortable with. Again, not having skill and training where they would teach you how to work with a variety of materials. So my next series of knives, they all have G10 and very simple handles, just very simple oval shaped handles with nothing. So it was only on the basically a taunt of, I bet you couldn't even try to work with another material. There's so many materials available. If you go onto like a website like usanifemaker.com or knifekits.com is a thing where they will sell you all the pieces of a disassembled folding knife. Like they've done all the work for you. They've cut everything out. You buy it and then you cut scales. They'll sell you scales too if all you want to do is assemble it, and fixed blade kits and everything, and you just make it your own. But they'll also sell you materials. Alpha Knife Supply is another good one. Jantz Supply, Jantz. There are more materials than you can imagine these days to make knife handles, scales. And when I say knife handles and scales, that's just what we're talking about. You can use it for anything, any artistic project. Natural materials, synthetic materials. I wish I had Kieranite around. Kieranite is an acrylic product. You think, and again, it's a plastic. So it can overheat, it can melt, it can crack. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. The color swirls that they can make in it, some are metallic, some are like opaque and let the light through, glow in the dark stuff. But if you don't know how to work with plastic and power tools, or even a hand, you got to know what you're doing. So anyway, so all this babbling the way I do is to say you really got to know what your handle is going to be and what kind of material suits that knife best. You'll notice that most of your fixed blade knives do not just have a nice smooth handle, because that's a good way to have that knife get wet, sweaty, whatever, if you're hunting, bloody, and slip out of somebody's hand. None of the knives that I have here, and we look at all of them, they all have some kind of texturing on the handle, on the scales. Some way, some more than others. This one is an example where it is mostly smooth. And that kind of gives you an idea what they intend this knife for more than the others. The Moras, pretty plain, but still, you can see how they give you some grooves and a little area to lock your hand into, right, for outdoors work. This is not a very fancy knife, and this is not a very good knife. Steel on this is terrible, but even so, you can see how I hate wrapped handles, but they make it to give you a grip. This little guy that I love so much, it's got texturing on the G10, and the choil really gives your hand a grip. We're going to do this whole review. I'm going to film it tomorrow because the weather app says it's going to be cactus sombrero out. Yes, Todd, ye old broomstick handle, which some cheaper knives still do have, and we'll see one really soon. Little palm swell definitely helps. Craig, I did the unboxing of the Pinto pack. I just have to edit it now. Now you guys can't see this very well. This is a nice blade. You guys can't see this, but there are, if I put it next to the mic, can you hear that? Texturing as I run my nail around it. Very fine grooves all the way down the handle to give you a smooth feel, but also give you a grip. So it's really important, like for me, so this goes all the way back to what we started talking about. When looking at a fixed blade, to me, the most important design feature on a fixed blade knife that you're going to be wielding and using, it's got to be the handle. Because if the handle doesn't feel right and the handle doesn't lock your hand onto that knife, it could be made out of diamonds and, this is what I always say, Fabergé eggs and bald eagle penis. It could be the most expensive knife in the world. But if that handle doesn't feel right and doesn't feel comfortable and doesn't give you the best grip on that knife, the whole rest of it's worthless, because it's not going to get used. After you get a good handle shape and you feel a knife that feels great in your hand, then you can start saying, okay, number one, what kind of steel is it made of? Because past that point, once we're done with the handle and everything, now, all right, what kind of steel is this knife made of? Because you can have a great blade shape, and you can have a great grind, and you can have it come out of the box super lightsaber razor sharp. But if your knife is not made of a good quality steel, that's good for, not just good quality, but good for what you're going to use it for, and it's not heat treated right, it might as well be made of aluminum can. Okay. I could take, and these are some of the examples I always use too, so Joe mentioned M-Tech knives, and this is not a slight at Joe. Don't take it as a thing about Joe. But in the comments on the Knife Box Sucks videos, people that really don't know about knives would say, yeah, but those knives were sharp, weren't they? And I was like, yeah, but I could pick up a soda can off the ground, okay? And no, Bob, you're not kind of listening to what I'm talking about here, though, in the order. A blade on a knife that nobody can pick up and hold comfortably and use is useless, right? So a blade with a handle, if a handle cuts into your hand and it's uncomfortable to use and it gives you blisters, the blade doesn't matter because nobody's holding that knife and nobody's using it. Now, you are free to disagree with me, of course. I'm giving you as a knife guy and as a knife maker and a guy who makes knives, if I'm going to put my knife in somebody's hand, to me, the most important feature is I need to make sure that knife is the most comfortable knife they've ever held in their life. Because if it's not, they're not going to use it, no matter how good the blade is. If the handle isn't right, nobody's going to pick up that knife to cut anything with it. So, um, so like I was saying, like I could pick up an old tin can off the road, and with enough sharpening time, I can make it razor sharp. But the second I try to chop something with it, or I start to use it like for real stuff, it's not going to hold an edge. So the second quality after best handle possible is my choice in steel. And this is a thing. We're going to have a whole nother live stream just talking about different types of steel, because we could start with our two main branches of the steel family tree: carbon steels and stainless steels. And a lot of people would say that outdoor knives, fixed blade knives, that's a carbon steel job. But because traditionally they're made of carbon steel. But if you look into it, the reason that traditionally they were made out of carbon steel was because, number one, carbon steel tended to be cheaper back in the day. The process of smelting and forging stainless steel was more expensive. We're talking like World War I times, okay? And so when they needed to mass produce these knives to send to guys in the trenches, carbon steel was a cheaper and more widely available option. But number two, you're taking a bunch of guys who grew up all over the place, most of whom had no idea how to sharpen a knife. No clue how to sharpen a knife. So automatically your first consideration is what kind of steel will hold an edge longer, period, dot, that's it. And it's going to be a carbon steel. Carbon steels will hold, and I know we have all sorts of fancy modern steels today. I'm just talking about back then. Your basic carbon steel is going to hold an edge longer, and it's going to provide a cutting edge to a doughboy shipping off to World War I or a kid on the farm longer. So that's what fixed blade field type knives were made of. Now, of course, there's the corrosion issue, but it is easier to teach somebody how to wipe down a knife and keep it dry than it is to really teach somebody how to be proficient at edge maintenance and sharpening a knife. And again, if you think military style, in basic training, you only have so many days, especially at wartime, to teach somebody so many skill sets. And any time that you can shave off time, you do. And it is a lot easier to teach somebody, take some of your CLP, take some of your gun oil, wipe this knife down clean at the end of the day, take a little dot of your gun oil, rub it on the blade to keep it protected. And then, all right, now we're going to the rifle range, guys. You know what I mean? Rather than sitting down and spending an hour a day having them practice with a whetstone. And by the way, then that's one more thing they have to carry in their pack and all this other stuff. So that's a whole nother thing. Nowadays, it's a lot easier for us to produce good quality stainless steels, cheaper, faster, easier, and there's a whole lot. So you will find fixed blade knives meant for the field that are made out of stainless steel. And some of them have edge retention qualities that are through the roof, that would blow away. If you pulled up, like you went a time machine and you got a knife maker that would, Mr. Buck from Mr. Buck Knives got their start making knives for the military. I believe it was in World War II, not World War I, but in Idaho, just off of Mountain Home, Idaho, Mountain Home Air Force Base, by the way. So you brought him today to see the processes they have today would blow his mind. He wouldn't even be able to comprehend the chemical mixtures that they were making. Anyway, steel, next most important part of your knife. And choosing the right steel for what you're doing is important. So you got to decide, what is your priority? Is your priority corrosion resistance? And I guess corrosion resistance, and you have the ability to maintain that edge, or more wear resistance and edge retention, and you're not so much worried about either corrosion, or you're not worried about keeping it clean and wiping it down. You go through those two branches, and then we will talk about all the different steels and stuff on another day, and different choices there, because there are so many choices, and some choices are identical, by the way, just under different names. Once you've decided what steel you are, so you've got the world's most comfortable knife in your hand, You've got the right steel for the right job for you. Now we got to talk about blade grind. And along with blade grind comes blade size. And this is where it can get really, there's so much. A knife like this is fancy pants. This is whatever. I thought I brought my Ontario 499 here with me. And I didn't, because it is still far and away my favorite fixed blade knife in the world, because I've been issued them, carried them, the Army Air Force survival knife. This is great steel. 14C28N Sandvik. D2 also. Now I am gonna disqualify when D2 is heat treated right, because I've seen some people that don't heat treat D2 right. They treat D2 like 1095. I know this is getting technical, but they treat D2 just like 1095, and they're not. They're slightly different. But you're right. If people, D2 used to be considered, and not too long ago, I mean, D2 used to be considered a really premium steel. People paid extra for it because it is a really good steel. When it's heat treated right, when it's cut right, it can do amazing things for you. And if you take care of it just the most basic way, it'll last forever. D2 can be really, really good. And the Holtzman I got coming is a D2 blade. Unfortunately, because a lot of Chinese companies started using D2, it's now sometimes people associate D2 with a cheap knife. It's not. D2, when done well, is a really good steel, especially for an outdoors knife. But we can talk about that sometime later. So there are a lot of different blade shapes to look for, in a fixed blade knife. And again, it all goes to the job you're going for. Standy grind for bushcrafting, a simple drop point for EDC use, right? And then again, there's an EDC size for EDC stuff. This doesn't mean you can't use it for other things, but it's original intention. And you'll see how two knives from two different companies really have kind of the same size, same shape. These are both EDC type fixed blade knives. Overall size and shape, blade stock, and grind are very similar because they're intended to do the same thing. When you have a knife that's intended to be step up from EDC, but a little bit more of an outdoors knife, yeah, I love that orange color on that knife, Trev. And it came in the EDC Club box, and I never would have tried it otherwise. I'm just so happy. A little bit more of an outdoors knife where it's got a little bit more heft to it. We're still working with drop point blades. This one has a bit of a hollow grind, which really helps you get a finer edge for slicing. And this one's more of a flat saber ground. But you'll notice we got the blade slightly longer, give you a little bit of leverage in a chop. But we're still full tang. Okay. What else? This is the Buck and Bear Piranha. I haven't used it for a while. This is 440C. And 440C also, when heat treated well, is nothing to sneer at. It's a stainless steel, but I prefer 440C as a folding knife, like an EDC steel. But 440C, when it's heat treated well, can last you a really long time, can hold an edge really, really nicely. But as you can see, this one's been used. It's been out there. It's not like a collection queen. Very comfortable handle, nice jimping. Not a real big blade, but nice for getting out in the woods and just doing some stuff, What else do I have right here? Why can't I remember this? I think of Garberg, and I can't look it up right now. Are you talking about this one right here? This larger knife, Mr. Black? I think that's what you're talking about. This one I'm actually about to package up and send it to Steve. I already sent his Mission 100 knife. This is a Ruger knife, and this came in Battle Box. Mission number, I don't remember. But this was a knife of the month. Oh, the Mora. Yeah, this Mora is... Why can't I remember this name? It has a funny name. Hang on, guys. Cansball. Craig's got it. The Cansball. The Mora Cansball. Thank you, Craig. I knew I could count on you. Mora Cans is my favorite Mora. It's not the most expensive Mora, but I love the blade on it. And it's available in, I think, stainless and carbon. And it's a thinner blade, but comfortable and sharp as hell. Easy to put the edge back on. And like I said, it's got that nice modified Scandi grind for doing some really fine work. Or you can just process wood with it all day. You can hunt with it. You can do whatever. It's awesome. I believe that the Ridgeback by Off Grid, I think this is a 14 C28. Pretty sure. I gotta check. This would be more of like a camp kitchen chopper right here. So this one, you can see it has kind of like a kitchen knife chef shape, but it really comes down to a good even bevel. I mean, not too thick, but it's got some spine on it, and it's got some leverage. So you could take this out. You could use it as a chopper at the campsite. You could use it in the kitchen at the campsite. And yeah, this is 14 C28. I can see where you're talking about the K-bar blade thing. Cold Steel. Does Cold Steel do a D2? Cold Steel does a D2 pretty good, yeah. Of all the things about Cold Steel, all my complaints, it's never about the way they treat their blades. I think Cold Steel is overpriced, but their quality is never a problem. I think that they charge you too much for what they give you, but what they give you is good quality. I would never argue that it's crap. They do their higher quality blades are good quality blades. Yes, for sure. Todd, thank you for filling this in right here. And believe it or not, the 14, 28, and the C27, there is a noticeable difference in those steels. And that's why there is a difference in price. And if you look into the molecular structure and how it works out, there is an advantage. There's a big edge retention advantage for the 14C28 over the 12C27. And it all has to do with carbon and a bit of nitrogen and stuff like that. But it's funny how the numbers don't seem that far off, but they really do matter. Thanks for dropping that in there, Craig. You know what we haven't looked at yet? I haven't taken a look at this O knife. And like I said, I'll do the whole full unboxing and review another day. But this has a Cerakote blade on it, which is a nice color. You can kind of see the intent of the designer a little bit, just based on what you're looking at. So I love off-grid, by the way. I have a lot of off-grids. Take a look at the design of the handle. This is obviously designed to kind of fit in your hand and for duration. It's designed to fit the palm and to be comfortable for use over time, right? The thickness of the blade stock is about the same too. But the blade shape and the grind here, it's quite a bit different. You've got a Bowie or what's the other? Some might call it a trailing edge. But just a different philosophy in the handle too. It's not so much for continuous use, but it gives you leverage over the front. The way that your thumb locks in over there, your finger locks in there, and you're putting the weight of your wrist and your forearm towards the front. It's really giving you a lot of leverage towards the front of your belly and towards the tip. So you can really kind of see the way it's designed to be used. Were you asking for, sorry, here's the clip on the Maxim. I'm not sure which clip you're asking to see. So here's for the off-grid. It's just kind of like a loop. And it's standard tech lock with the O knife. Lord Black, thank you for joining. I can't wait to see your coat of arms and how that all works out. Have a good night. Where is this? So one is designed for your heavy-handed kind of bring it down whole blade, and one is really designed for using in terms of when I do the pew pew test with the 550 cord. You can tell a lot from a knife just by looking where your hand is placed and how the handle is shaped, which is kind of cool. So this is much more of a doing fine work kind of knife. And that's like sort of, so when we talk about the difference where this is more, this just has the look and feel of a chopper, and this is going to be more of your fine work, feather sticking. I don't know, I guess you could dress game with this and stuff. This has the end where you kind of could, but I mean, it definitely has that heavyweight feel. So getting to know kind of these features on the different fixed blades, when you're looking at one, maybe if you're even going to design one. Like I have some designs, and I've talked to a couple companies, but then I got real sick, and I never finished following up. I might get one or two produced sometime in the near future, and we'll see if that happens. This is a Revo. This also came in Battle Box, I think. Another fixed blade, but we see here this has the full flat ground thin blade, so it matches almost with the EDC size, but a little bit more. And again, you look at the handle shape. They want it to be comfortable. They want it to be in your hand, but also they give it where they design it where you're putting that extra weight, that slice power towards the front. So slicing, EDC, a lot can be told from the handle design, and that's, like I said, I'm going to go back to it. And I really don't mind if you guys don't agree with me, or if you disagree, you want to put it in the comments why you disagree. That the handle is that's the most important part of the design of the knife. But from my point of view, number one, comfort. If it's not comfortable, you're not going to use it. Number two, as I've been describing how the design kind of focuses where you put the power on the knife or how you hold the knife, it's a really important feature, and it's the first thing you come in contact with the knife, short of looking at it and saying, oh, that knife looks cool. There are a lot of knives I've looked at and said, oh, that looks cool, and then I put it in my hand in a shop and said, oh, that doesn't feel cool well. It's harder to find. Like, there used to be a great store in Orlando, Florida, or maybe it was Sanford. I think it was Sanford. It was called Knives a Lot, and my dad took me there, and I told the story about how he got me my first Bertillon. What was that fixed blade that was heavy for the size? I think you're talking about the Ridgeback, Dave, from Off Grid. But it was a dedicated knife store. It was just a brick and mortar knife store. And this was back in the early 2000s or late 90s. I'm not sure exactly the time frame. It's right when the Bertillon first came out. So it had to be between 1996 and 99. I don't know. Very, very, very around that time frame. And this guy knew his knives, and he said he would not sell anybody a knife without them picking it up and holding it first, because he didn't want them to come back. The smaller one that weighed a ton. I don't know, Dave. I don't remember saying one of them weighed a ton. I said these ones are a little bit heavier. Did I say the Revo weighed more? Todd, what's the news about Ontario? I don't know. Dave, you let me know when I show you the one you want. Maybe the Revo? This is the Revo. I shouldn't have said it weighs a ton. It doesn't weigh a ton. Weighs a little bit more. What I said was it weighs a little bit more than this EDC size guy. It's a little bit bigger than that. Maybe I said it weighs a ton, and I shouldn't have said that, because I say stupid things. I say stupid things all the time, and we know that. So, but this guy that had the knife store said he would never sell anybody a knife without them picking up and handling it first, because he never wanted them to come back later and be like, you sold me this knife, it looked great, but it just doesn't feel good in my hand. And had a coated blade. It was black. Oh, geez. I don't know, Dave. There's so many knives at the old house. It's probably in storage now. I kind of sort of... Oh, I know what you mean. It started with an E. Started with an E. It's in the storage unit now. I never finished the video on it. I remember because it was like, because it's made of like uranium or something. It's made of the most dense metal. I remember now. It's got the black and orange, the black scale with the orange liners. This I did not know. I'm actually surprised they only had 57 people. It's like the Asus. I think it's the Asus was the one that we were messing with. And yeah, damn, that one was really heavy for its size. Yeah, that one's definitely in storage. Yeah, I got to get that one and show you guys. I don't know why it's as heavy as it is, but we compared it next to like 10 knives. Me and Dave held it up to 10 knives the same size, and somehow, some way, it is heavier than all of them. But heavy in a good way. It feels nice. It feels like it could chop down a tree. It really does. I haven't started on resharpening this Condor. And I really want you guys to know it is a one-off fluke that this Condor didn't come super sharp out of the package. I've never had that happen before. I've never had a Condor come up lame. And I have a handful of Condors. And they've all been really good. So, Dave, you know what I'd love for you to help me with or teach me how to do? Making like a web accessible like document where people can populate things they want to see on the live streams, like where I can put a link to it somewhere and people can I know that's also tempting fate that somebody will like say I want to talk about Bodie McBoatface, but I'd like to do that some way. No, Todd, this thing was like picking up Mjolnir. Okay, it was like I couldn't even explain it. I'm gonna find it. It might even be here in this little house here, buried under some stuff. It was just ridiculously heavy for its size. Like maybe it had like a lead core with other metal forged around it. I don't know. But it was, I can't remember the steel, but it was a good quality steel too. It was not crap. It was just stupid heavy. But again, in a way where like you pick it up and you're like, damn, that feels like I could swing on that. Listen. We both managed to pick the thing up, okay? We both got it off the ground. We just both said this is not something I would want to carry long term. We're going to save that for Jane. She can do it. Craig, that Condor kukri is still, you can have it once we get it out of the storage place. Because it is definitely still, I have so much stuff in storage. It's just stupid. Like I have so much stuff in storage. You have no idea. Where is my Ontario $4.99? Now I just really... Hey, Leonard, how are you doing? What is up? Here, Leonard, here's the topic. See, I wish I could get the banner to go to the top of the screen. I don't know. I could remove myself from the stream. Well, I certainly don't want to do that. That would not be good. Yeah, I'm doing okay tonight. Lead core swords were another way to kill vampires. I did not know that. Look, here's what we I did not know that. I thought like the wood core swords. Leonard, I have to send you that Civivi. It's in the bottom of my backpack, which I discovered when I was doing the video on that pouch. I was like, what is rattling around in this stupid backpack? And I was like, oh, it's a Civivi box. What is in here? Oh my God. It's Leonard's Mando knife. Now I got to figure out Taurus. Taurus knife goes in here. Yeah. Oh, Leonard, I have like 4, somehow I have like 4 QSP penguins around here. I just gave one to Dave. I have 2 others. My woods carry nowadays is a K-Bar BK9. Oh, the BK9 is nice. I don't know about the Jaguar. Papa Bear knives. I don't even know about the Papa Bear knives. I got to look into that. I can't wait until the Holtzman gets here, because I was actually chatting with Nate. I don't carry gravity knives for that reason. Yeah, no, Leonard, I know exactly which one you did, but I also have 2 of those because of Monthly Knife Club. What was I looking at? What company? Hang on. I was actually thinking, I never do this. You guys know I don't reach out to companies and be like, send me something. But Reet Knives has a T1000 knife that looks amazing. And I was actually thinking of finally, for the first time ever, just like, hey, I'm this guy and I have a YouTube channel. Here's a link to it. You can check it out. Do you think you'd want to send me a T1000 so we can look at it? Because I can't find it anywhere. And I think we'd all love to see that. And then I just give it away to somebody. I need to do 2 more giveaways this summer. And I have a lot of stuff to do it with. So I think I'm going to work on that starting this weekend. I need to get some stuff out of here. And in other news, let me show you guys something. If I remember how to share a screen. Hold on. All right. I'm going to figure it out. Hang on. Figuring it out. I swear to God. Share screen. Oh, it's now present. Oh. Okay. All right, so you guys can see what I'm seeing. These are all the videos that I have either already edited and uploaded, or that I'm in the process of editing right now. So these are all videos you haven't seen yet. Well, except for this one. See, Barrel and Blade Knife of the Month? You guys have just seen this one today. So all these other ones all need to be viewed this month. And then I have these 2 knives here I just talked about. And then I have some more stuff going on. So July is busy. And there's still a couple boxes inbound that need to be... Did we already do... Hold on, I need to check. Did we already do the... what is it? The EDC Club for July? No, we didn't. We didn't. I don't think. We might have. I don't think we did. Okay. Where is StreamYard? Okay, cool. Then we still have the EDC Club box to look forward to. It got here a little bit early last month. That's what it was. I am, when people are asking me now, like, what's my favorite box? I still ask them, like, favorite box for what? Like, what topic? But I'm telling you, that EDC Club box is on. I wait like a little kid on Christmas to get that box. It is honestly like my favorite. But they just have such cool stuff in it. So, yeah. So it is just really cool. But I don't think I really talked about all the features in fixed blades that I wanted to in this video. We got a little. Oh, Dave, you missed talking about guns. A little bit, but we'll cover that later. Oh, listen, I did start a new military page. There's a new military channel. There's nothing on it yet. There's nothing on it yet. But I started it just to claim the name. It's called DocP's Tactics Talk. And so I need to come up with a logo, and I need to, well, just start populating it. I have a couple of military videos on this channel that I'll move over to there. But I'm looking to do an upload a week. And so what's really going to help out is, and there is an email address, like DocP Tactics Talk. So I'm really going to want to hear from you folks what kinds of things you want me to do videos on, besides just like war stories, like, what kinds of things do you want to know about? What do you want me to teach you about? What do you want to learn about? What are you curious about in the military world? Because I will tell cool war stories, and I will show you things that are of interest to me. But I'll also do a separate video. I'll do a separate video introducing it on the channel and directing everybody to it. But there's no content on it right now because I really want to come up with a really cool logo for it that's different from this channel's. So, Ladies, Gentlemen, and Llama belongs to this channel. So I need to come up with something a little bit else, a little bit different. So if you guys want to look up, let me do this. Hang on. I'm a bad typer. If you guys choose to look this channel up and go ahead and give it a subscribe and turn your notifications on now. Thank you, Richard. Thank you so much. I'm sorry we're just about ending, but hopefully if you go back and you watch this, maybe you'll, we were talking about fixed blades and kind of what I feel is important in choosing a good fixed blade knife, some of the features. But if you guys want to and be cool, go look up this new channel and just give it a subscribe and turn on your notifications, because I'm hoping to start the new military content as early as next week. So you'll, if you're interested in the military stuff I do anyway, or even if you're not, you could just be cool and help me out and get it going now. But I don't know. Do something using the Bradley. Oh, dude, I could tell you so many stories about the Bradley. You know what we'll do? We'll have a watch party for the Pentagon Wars. And we'll break it down, and I'll tell you what was book accurate and what was not, and then I'll tell you realistic things about being in the Bradley and how bad it sucks to be caught without your Kevlar on when you go over a bump in the Bradley. I could tell you so much about the Bradley. I could tell you intimate details about the Bradley at night and what Bradley likes and what Bradley doesn't like, and how to get the Bradley to like you. Yeah. Bradley was, just so you guys know, I was not a Bradley crew member. Okay, so 19 Deltas are cavalry scouts. And a big part of training is learning about the Bradley at Fort Knox. And now I think it's at Fort Benning, etc. But they both have new names anyway, so fuck it, who knows? So as a dismount, there are different slices of 19 Delta. And part of it, hold on, Leonard, let me do that for you. Let me do that for you right now. Thanks for letting me know there's a problem with it. hang on, I'm going to do this right now. Then I'm going to finish telling you a little bit about Bradley's. And Scouts. I have lost the ability Isn't that weird? I can't find it. Hang on. Why can't I find it? I don't like that. That's bizarre. Maybe it's because I have no content on it right now. Is that why? Is that a thing? I still have to film the video about my rifle because you guys wanted to know. But just give me 1 second, guys. I'm sorry. Bear with me for a minute. Let's see. Sign in here. It's concerning me that nobody can find it. Now it's going to want my phone to enter a code because I'm not stupid this time. And all right, hold on, guys. 1 second. 1 second. Swear. All right. You guys are so good to wait for me. I'm such a jerk. See if that gets you anywhere. I'm just wondering if it's because I have no videos on it yet. Oh, yeah, there it is. I was able to subscribe to it myself. So, yeah. If you guys would all head on over there, you can click it on the chat thing and just subscribe now and turn on the notifications when I start uploading videos to it next week. And hang on, let me get the email address so that you guys can start telling me what you want to see on it. This is terrible. I'm doing terrible. Here is the email address. Oh, that's so awesome. I'm so glad to hear that. I can't wait for my next shirt to go. Here's the email address that's associated with that account. So anything you guys have, like whatever requests you have for military videos, if I don't know it, guys, I was just on the horn 2 days ago with my former Intel troop. Remember we talked about her patch, this patch, because I had some questions about Ukraine's MiGs myself, and of course, the info that I can get a hold of now is all unclassified. But I couldn't put anything classified on YouTube anyway. But I'm saying if I don't know it, I will get the info for you and I'll present it. It just might take me a little longer to make the video, but I will present you with whatever info you guys want to have. So, spread that channel around. Tell people that that like military stuff, that I'm starting it. I'm going to tell my cool war stories. I'm going to tell other people's cool stories. I'm going to tell interesting events and facts about the military. It's going to be like watching AFN without having to join the military. And I will do all of your Q&As, and I'll also do my reacting. I'm also going to be reacting to other military videos on that channel, the way I did the other two, if you like those ones. Is Space Force a real branch of the military? Yes, the United States Space Force is a real branch of the military. And, oh, that's a good idea. That's a good idea. It's a good idea. Thanks. Thanks, Todd. What happened was, see, here's what people don't understand. Each branch of the military already had a space command. There was a joint command, U.S. Space Command. And all they did was, instead of having each branch fight for budget money for their own individual space group, they just took it out and made it its own branch of the service. And because in the Navy, in the Army, and the Air Force, the Marines don't count for this, so don't worry, no offense. They always did the cyber information warfare, space operations, launching satellites, spy stuff, weather-related things, all that. So they took it all and consolidated it into its own branch that has its own budget, its own chain of command, its own seat at the Joint Chiefs of Staff, and things like that. I know a lot of people make fun of it because they don't understand what it's for or what it does. But it consolidated what was spread under 3 different service umbrellas and brought it into one branch. It operates more efficiently. It costs less money than it did before. And it gives them more autonomy to do what they do without having to cross wires between 3 different branch generals to get stuff done. And so if you enjoy GPS on any device you have, think Space Force, because they're the ones that maintain those satellites. But we can talk about that too. And of course, it is modeled after the Air Force. The first bunch of guys came out of the Air Force into the Space Force, but they are not a slice of the U.S. Air Force. They are their very own. They wear Air Force-looking uniforms, but they have their own rank insignia, their own tapes, their own rank names, and they live on U.S. Space Force bases, USSF. So they do their own stuff. And we had to give up, the Air Force had to give up the bases. They used to be U.S. Air Force bases. Now they're U.S. Space Force bases. Or Joint Base XYZ, which is now Joint Air Force and Space Force. So none of them, and this is the funny part, none of them are in space. None of them are astronauts. They do the exact same jobs that they did, whether they were in the Army, Navy, or Air Force, sitting at a desk, looking at satellite imagery, looking at, I don't know what they do. They're the ultimate geeks. They're the ultimate nerd geek force in the military. But they're cool. They're good at it, and they're cool. So, but I will definitely get to doing video stuff on the Tactics Talk channel. I'll probably do some model related stuff too. I was going to use a couple models to describe some air intercept tactics and everything, just like we would in the vault, just like we would do, talking through tactics with little models on sticks, doing stuff like that. So I think it'll be cool. So anyway, guys, we're a little bit over, but that is very cool. So anyway, thanks guys for joining me. We'll do it again next week. Next week, I think I'll be talking about some folding knife features and what I think goes into a good folding knife. Is light blue their actual color, or is it something? K-Bar did the Space Force thing all on their own before Space Force was even a thing. Before Space Force actually technically existed as their own branch, K-Bar did that. And if you noticed, all they did was take their own product line and put light blue on it. I don't know where that came from. So yeah, it was funny though that they did that. I don't know, because I remember sitting in I was sitting in Florida when I saw the first K-Bar Space Force color thing, and I was like, Space Force isn't even a thing yet. They just talked about it. What is going on? So anyway, all right, Kurt, I'll check Instagram out. It's just I have 3 different Instagram channels now, and switching back and forth between them is just such a pain in the ass. But I'll check it out. So anyway, guys, thanks for joining. We'll do this again next week, same time, same place. Remember, you guys are all absolutely awesome. I appreciate every single one of you, and I'll be back again real soon.